Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome back to Raising Howl. My name is Jeremy Harper, part of the Believe Network, a spinoff to a Fun Belt podcast, which we haven't gotten together in a while, which is fine. It's not, we're not defunct, we're not disbanded, we're not the Beatles. We're just taking a little time off. We'll get back together. There's a lot to talk about. You know, like Louisiana Tech paying $8 million to join the Sun Belt. I guess it's worth it. We should be proud of ourselves. I look forward to having Louisiana Tech in the fold. Some of the old timers hate Louisiana Tech. I don't have those type of feelings. Come on over, Bulldogs. Bring your A game. I remember the Bulldogs trouncing us in the New Orleans Bowl one year. That New Orleans Bowl, I remember, gave us a pretty good idea of how far behind Red Wolves football was getting. Because those Bulldogs were huge. They were bigger at every position. I was like, oh, are we not recruiting the right guys? Anyway, welcome Bulldogs to the fold. The Sun Belt's better than ever. Now, this weekend I went to the spring game. I caught a couple Red Wolves baseball games. I'm going to tell you all about that. And I enjoyed it. It was a good spring game. It was a pretty good day. A little warm in the shade. It was nice. I spent most of my time in the shade. Great spring game. Was it the best attended spring game? No. There's a little apathy settling with the fan base. I get it. You know, when a fan base expects to challenge for titles and it doesn't happen, then the fan base becomes apathetic. That's fine. There are a lot of good fans there, though. I'm not saying if you weren't there, you're not a good fan. Don't stretch that out context. I'm just saying there are a lot of good fans in the stands. People that were interested in seeing what the team was going to look like this year. Maybe interested in taking in some of the sun. Maybe just interested in getting back to that football atmosphere. Just one kind of brief moment to have it again. I like the format this year. Butch Jones, you know, he comes out. I remember when our old coach, Blake Anderson. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. When Blake Anderson was in charge, he kind of viewed the spring game as almost like a carnival. You know, have the ice cream truck out there, get the basketball coach to maybe say a few words or catch a punt, have some sort of weird scoring format. And some of that is true today. There was the weird scoring format. There were some contests that Butch Jones put out, but they were entertaining contests. It's like who could throw the ball the furthest. Battles between offensive and defensive linemen. Battles between wide receivers and defensive backs. Yeah, that was good. So it gave us a chance to look to see some strengths and weaknesses. And Coach Jones isn't a bad MC. You know, you look at Coach Jones, and you often see a very self-scripted, sort of very careful personality, right? You know, when he speaks, he generally has a menu of phrases he likes to repeat. It's fine. It's sort of his shield. You know, he's a stick with the plan guy. He's not going to freelance and go off script, okay? He's a stick with the plan guy. But in those moments where he lets the hair down a little bit, he can be a very funny and engaging person. Now he had the microphone. He was sort of commentating during the little contests that were put out. At one point, he gets into the stands and has fans, the young fans, the old fans, call a play. He's almost, I don't know if that's his element, but he seems comfortable there. He seems to like going in there. And it's sure, maybe a little bit of that is rehabilitative. He got a little prickly with fans last season. Yeah. There are a couple F-bombs. Yeah, I don't like to lecture fans, but sometimes the fans aren't helpful. Like, they'll get behind Butch Jones and the team and say just a lot of unhelpful things. That's a fan's right, to tell you the truth. I'm not going to infringe on that right. The fans have just as much right to voice displeasure as they do to cheer on the team. And sometimes the administration will kind of like lecture the fans on how they're supposed to behave, and that's not good. That's a losing battle, brother. You're going to lose that battle because the fans ultimately have their say, especially at the game. But yeah, it's not always helpful to hurl insults at the coaches and at the players when you're at the game. It's not. I used to have a little more sympathy when the players were amateur athletes that were playing the game for the love of the team. Now it's for the love of the bag. So it makes it a little harder to condemn fans for yelling at the team because, after all, they're paid employees now, right? Still, it's distasteful. We're grown adults. Yeah, I don't mind some good-natured heckling, but you have to be good at heckling. I'm going to jump to the baseball game for just a second. I'll come back to football because there's a lot to talk about the spring game. But I go to the baseball game on Saturday after the spring game. It's the Cajuns. I'm sitting in the beer garden, which I love. I love the beer garden. Drink a beer, have some food, whatever those guys are cooking up. It's really good. Right field rowdies. There was one fan who, I don't know, maybe he was into his cups a little bit, or maybe he was just in a good mood. He decided to take it upon himself to heckle the right fielder for the Cajuns. That's well and good. Go ahead and give him some stuff. Give him the business. That's all right. Here was his opening salvo. Hey, I saw you were on the Epstein list. Your girlfriend is 12. That's not funny. That's not good-natured ribbing. You're not joshing around. There's nothing funny about being on the Epstein list. That's not like a joke. It might be a joke. You might say, lighten up, it's just a joke. If you have to say, lighten up, it's just a joke, then there's something wrong with the joke. And it didn't get much better from there. The guy, he was trying his best. I get it. It's hard to heckle and be engaging with the heckling. It's hard to do it professionally, right? It's almost like you need to come in with, not a script, but maybe a game plan before you go in. Maybe before you had 3 or 4 beers. Kind of know what you're going to say. And maybe he did. Maybe he's like, yeah, Epstein list. That's going to kill. Didn't help us. We ended up losing that game. Anyway, back to the football game. The football game was good. The fans were good. Like I said, not the biggest crowd. Not the days of Gus Malzahn. Not even the days of Coach Blake Anderson. Not even those days. It was just a modest crowd. And a lot of us were packed up under the eaves, to get some shade. But those who came it was pretty entertaining. For one thing, we got a good look at the 4 quarterbacks. You know who I'm talking about, the 4 guys that are now on the roster to play quarterback. And, when you see 4 guys on the roster, you think, okay, obviously there's going to be a contender for the starting job. Maybe 2 guys. 2 guys are kind of weighing. And then maybe everybody else is sort of a work in progress, a gem that just needs a little polish. So Coach Jones, he had all 4 of those guys out. And he made them live targets. Normally at a spring game, you see the quarterback, he's wearing like that green penny, yellow penny, orange penny, whatever color it is. And you're not allowed to touch him, right? Yeah, he breaks off for a run, and if the defensive back gets close to him, whistle, plays dead. Not this time. Coach Jones says these guys are live targets. And he had them running, boy. He had them running. And let me tell you, I was surprised how well all the quarterbacks ran. Like, for instance, talking about Drew Dickey, the senior that comes out of Vanderbilt. Follows the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator. I kind of expected Dickey, and I've said this on this show before, and I've said it on Hellraiser, that I expected him to be more of a sort of a clipboard manager type to help out the offensive coordinator, bring the guys up to speed on what the new OC wants, right? That's kind of what I expected. Drew Dickey came out there, and he's competing for the job, folks. And he had his moments. He threw a duck that got intercepted. That's true. But he can run. I was surprised. He has speed. Got a good look at Ethan Crawford. The more I see Ethan Crawford, the more I like the guy. I like Ethan Crawford. He throws a pretty spiral. He has sort of this quick motion, which I think will get him out of a collapsing pocket pretty well. And when he throws it, it's just like a line drive spiral. And he ended up winning the strongest arm contest. And I was a little surprised because I always thought of Ethan as a runner, right? Because that's kind of how he's built. At Southern Miss, he was brought in a lot for running situations. Hell, he scored 2 touchdowns on the ground against us a couple of years ago. Yeah, I liked Ethan. Yeah, and he's built a little bit like a small linebacker, right? All these guys are. All these new quarterbacks on the team, they're all stout guys. They're not Jalen Raynor. Jalen Raynor, he did get a little meaty in his last year, but he was still sort of a slight guy. You're always worried that he was just going to get demolished. Sometimes he was. These 4 guys, they're not getting demolished. I liked what I saw out of Ethan Crawford. I think the knock on him is that he gambles a little bit. Honestly, I like a gambler. I don't mind a little bit of gambling. That's the difference between Ethan Crawford and Coach Jones, is that Jones, he doesn't want to gamble. He considers gambling a fool's tax, right? Stick to the script. It's well thought out, well planned. Just stick to the script. Crawford maybe won't stick to the script. I don't know. I like that, though. I like a little gunslinger in a guy. I think all fans like that. We like wins more than even gunslinging, though. So we'll just trust the coach. Guy I was really looking forward to see a lot of. Didn't get to see a lot of him. Trey Owens. The 6'5" transfer out of Texas. 4-star recruit when they was brought aboard. Owens, if you look at him, he looks the package, right? He's just a big guy. He got the first series. Ended up getting a little dinged somewhere in that series, maybe. Ended up being sidelined for the rest of the game. Didn't get to see a whole lot of Trey Owens. Just too bad. But when he's out there, he ran. Of course, they all ran. Picked up big chunks of yards because when he runs, he's like one of those gazelle guys. He's a little like like our old quarterback. What was his name? That'll come to me later. It's at the tip of my tongue. But he runs like a gazelle, long-legged guy. Kennedy, remember Kennedy? Kind of runs like Kennedy. The fourth guy is the Mountie from Montreal, Jeremy St. Hilaire, with 2 accent marks over the E's. Wow. He's from Vanderbilt, too. If you gave me all 4 guys, I said, which one probably needed the most work? Probably St. Hilaire. He's a sophomore. Hey, he's a stout kid, too. He seems like one of those goal line quarterbacks that you can put him in and he can just run the sneak 2 yards, 1 yard out. I don't know. He didn't seem as ready as the other 3, but I felt like he was more ready than any third string guy I've ever seen at Arkansas State. So we have 4 guys that are capable hands. If you asked me, if you said, Jeremy, who's going to be the guy that starts? I think Jones still probably in his heart of hearts wants Owens to start because he's that guy, right? He's the guy who stands in the pocket. He can run when he has to. Big arm. But, it should be Crawford. I think Crawford probably adds more layer to the whole thing. Either one I'm great with. If it were Drew Dickey, I'd be fine with. Jeremy St. Hilaire, I'd be okay. Let's see what the kid has. This could be a situation where we have to wait 4 weeks into the season before somebody rises to the top. There were other flashes of brilliance too, in the game. I like this junior running back, Ezel Jolly. Ezel? I don't know. Just remember that last name, Jolly. He got plenty of reps. He did some stuff. Devin Spencer looked pretty good back there. Great to see Spencer doing some stuff. The wide receivers, they look capable. Manelli, remember him? Came out Wagner. Last season, he didn't really do much. Coach Jones named him the most improved offensive player on the team. And he looked like he kind of had things figured out. Chauncey Cobb, the small but powerful, the small but speedy, the small but valuable wide receiver, he looked game ready. There's another guy out there, a guy who was on the team last year, was hurt. Came out of Utah State, Malik McConaughey, defensive back. He had a couple interceptions. Not a big guy. Seems to have some football smarts, though. I like the tight ends this year. I like Jabari Bush. And they've paired him with this new guy. This guy named Jalen Ham. 6'6" guy out of Kansas. Dude's huge. They threw a couple passes to him. He caught him. Last year, they really did experiment, the offense did, with bringing more tight end into the offensive scheme. And I hope they continue that this year. I like a big pass-catching tight end. Because, when that guy gets the ball, the defensive backs are like, crap. Bush looked formidable. There's a guy, Rommel Stevens, kind of a redshirt freshman wide receiver, 6'4" guy. He stood out. There's always guys that stand out. Will they contribute? Will they become star players? I don't know. But the size of Stevens stood out to me. I'll be looking for him. One guy that intrigued me was a guy named Ryan Reese, a 6'2" sophomore defensive tackle. He won 2 awards. One was for weights. Maybe the other was most improved on defense. I don't know. But he's a big kid. He's the total package. He's a 6'2" guy, defensive tackle. I got a picture of him on the story I wrote on howlrazor.com. Check it out. Howlrazor.com for my recap of the spring game. Reese is going to be somebody to watch, I think. I say that, and who knows? Maybe he's not even on the team by the time autumn comes around. But I liked him. I thought he was good. Defensively, maybe we need to worry. I don't know. It's a spring game. A lot can happen between now and then. Maybe the offensive line is just really good. And the offensive line looks good. Collectively. They look big. They look skilled. The offensive line, from my amateur eye, looks good. But that defensive line just wasn't really doing much against that offensive line. McConaughey, good job in the backfield. I don't know. I don't know about the defense. Griff McCauley, you've got your work cut out for you again. You have to find a rabbit in the hat and pull it out. I don't know. Maybe we're going to have a lights-out offense this year. The same offense that, out-of-state pundits have been accusing us of having for years, even though we haven't had that kind of offense in years. I would love that. I would love Coach Jones to finally pull the cork out of the offense. I guess we'll see. Are you looking for a pretzel report? I've been complaining online about the pretzels that are usually served at the spring game. I suspect that they're the pretzels that were put out in December and then thrown into deep freeze, then unthawed. Hopefully some poor schmuck will buy them for the spring game. I was prepared. I was ready to buy a pretzel, even though I'm on a diet while I'm trying to eat fewer carbs. Say, okay, I'm going to break down and get pretzels. They weren't serving pretzels. They had a couple food trucks out. And the food coming out of those trucks looked pretty good. So if you went to the food trucks, that's fine. I didn't. I'm on a diet. I think I told you that. Trying to lose a few pounds. I'm not on one of those glucose inhibitors or whatever they're called. I'm not on one of those. I'm just trying to do it the traditional way, looking at calories, trying not to eat a lot. My weakness is I eat at night. My wife goes to bed. Good night, honey. I get up. I'll make some toast. I'll eat some chips. Pretzels. I eat a lot of pretzels. It's like having a second dinner. And then throughout the day, I'm also snacking. I work from home. Bag of chips in the cupboard. Great. Yum, yum, yum. So I'm making some changes. Trying to eat a few carrots. Trying to lose a little weight. So I don't have a pretzel report for you. There were no pretzels. Anyway, I thought it was a good spring game. If you went, you were treated to something pretty cool. I enjoyed the whole spectacle. I like seeing the quarterbacks out there getting hits. At one point, Drew Dickey throws an interception. I thought it was Owens. I got confused online. I said, "Oh, Owens did all this." It wasn't Owen. It was Drew Dickey. Drew Dickey throws this pass. It looks terrible. It's a floater out in the sky. No one even knows who he's throwing it to. Ends up in McConaughey's arms. McConaughey takes off. Like I said, McConaughey, not a big guy. Drew Dickey comes flying out of nowhere and delivers this huge hit onto McConaughey. And then Dickey immediately extends his hand, helps him up, because he knows, hey, we're all friends here. That was fun to watch, though. It's always fun to watch the team kind of enjoy themselves. You know, they're on display. They get to show off a little bit. It's not a real game. You don't get to learn much. But it's good to be there. So after the spring game, I went to J-Town's Grill, had their chicken wings. Again, not trying to eat too many carbs, had them dry. I like them. They make good wings. Sat at the bar. Then went to the baseball game. My brother, Rex Steele, joined me. He's got a monocular. It's a telescope. He's out there with the monocular. And I told you about the guy that wasn't very good at heckling. Heckling hard. I'm not even being too critical of the guy. He tried. He just wasn't good at it. It's a skill you learn. Arkansas State had already dropped the first game of the series to the Cajuns 3-2. I believe lost that game in the late innings. So, you know, Arkansas State, at one point, Arkansas State gets a fairly good lead. They get the 5 runs, and then there's a point where Arkansas State had a opportunity to blow the game wide open. Cajun pitching's kind of falling apart. They're walking in runs. Bases loaded, 0 outs. Cajuns end up getting out of that skirmish there. We don't get any runs off the 0 outs, bases loaded. And that drives me crazy. That drives me crazy because that is an opportunity to put the game on ice. Just get a run. Put the ball in play. Just get somebody over. I know I'm saying that like it's easy, but it was just aggravating to watch because I knew it would come back to haunt us. And sure enough, Cajuns tie up the game 5-5. We go into the 9th. We can't capitalize on batting last. 10th inning. I don't know what pitcher we put in. Gives up 6 runs. 6 runs in the 10th inning. It almost felt like it was like, you know what? We played 9 innings. We're done. That's what it felt like. Which might be a mean thing to say because these kids are out there playing their hardest. They're trying to win the games. It was frustrating, though, because I wanted to see that win. I was already a little upset that the tennis team had lost to ODU. ODU, top-rated tennis team in the Sun Belt. Kind of a tall order, a big ask. Ask Arkansas State to win that game. But, you know, I was hoping they'd get through it. That was tough. Now we have the baseball team squandering opportunity. Now we're no longer a sub 40 RPI. You gotta be sub 40 to get consideration for an at-large, but you gotta be. Really, you should be sub 30. Next day, I did check in on the Sunday game. I only stayed 7 innings. It got hot. I mean, it was warm Sunday. It was hot. No, I'm sorry. It was warm Saturday. It got hot on Sunday. Hot, like 90-degree hot. Just one of those pounding suns that comes down like a hammer from the heavens. Just pound, pound, pound. I got sunburned. I didn't even think about sunblock. Yeah, that was some summer sun. It's not summer yet, but that was summer sun in Jonesboro. It was hot. But the Red Wolves' bats were kind of hot, too. They ended up winning the game, something, I don't know, 8-3. Something like that, 8-4. I think it was 8-3. Revenge game. It was good to win that. We're always good on Sunday. I like that. But we can't keep squandering opportunities. And that's what tells me that maybe A-State baseball isn't quite there. They're good. Don't get me wrong. We're good. It's fun to be good. But we're not top tier Sun Belt. Not yet. Listen to me complaining about it. It's just magnificent that I'm even complaining about it. But yeah, I enjoyed my weekend in Jonesboro. I like the spring game. I enjoyed the baseball games, even though the bitter defeat in the 10th inning was hard to swallow. And that game Saturday, oh my God, was so long. I think the Friday game was like over in 2.5 hours. The Red Wolves Cajuns game on Saturday didn't end until after 10 o'clock. Good gravy. That's just too long. That's 4 hours of watching the baseball game. That's too long. People like bonus baseball. I don't want bonus baseball. I want baseball to conclude, preferably with a win. Arkansas State didn't get to play the Tuesday game against UA Little Rock, thanks to the weather. We get to play them a couple of weeks, week from now. I can't remember exactly which. We'll go out of town and play ODU. ODU, that's going to be a tough game. I hope we're ready for that. Yeah, so I want to end this discussion, which is one-sided. Thanks for listening. I appreciate that. I have a gripe. It's not really a gripe. It might be a little controversial. But I've decided that I'm not a fan of walk-up music for baseball players. I'm not a fan. I get the purpose of it. This is a chance to show or display a little bit of personality for the players, right? But here it is. It's just a brief burst, right, of these songs just pounding out of the PA system. And most of the songs aren't good. I'm sorry. College baseball players, you got bad taste. That's mean, I know. It's all, a matter of perspective. I just don't like walk-up music. Why do we have this? It's become really popular, even in Little League now. Kids are choosing their walk-up song. That's cute. Maybe in college we become grown-ups. Maybe grow up a little bit. Yeah, I was actually enjoying the visiting team coming up to bat, so I wouldn't have to listen to walk-up music. The walk-up music just blows me out of my chair. I'm trying to have a conversation, trying to discuss the game with the people around me. I gotta wait for the walk-up music to end. And it's not good. It's just not good. Maybe as a complete song, the songs are good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm only getting a sliver of the song. I'm not getting the whole piece, right? I'm just getting a chunk of song. And really, it's not a chunk of song. It's just noise. It's just noise because we feel now in a sporting event, we got to fill every moment with some noise. Give us some noise. You don't have to manufacture that. Maybe in football, hell, even in basketball, you need a little crowd energy, right? But baseball is a slow burn. We don't need to be hyped every moment of the game. We need to be vested in it, focused. We don't need to be like, yeah, Iron Man. We don't need that. It's baseball, summertime. Like a lot of times, like just because it's social media, it's like, hey, if you had a walk-up song, what would it be? It would be nothing. It would be zero. My walk-up's music is dead silence.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.